Uh, uh,
We just want to know your name.
24!
Oh, great. Another genius.
Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I got a crazy current events video for you guys, and I've been listening to your feedback, and a lot of you guys have said that you want me to make more of these crazy current event videos, giving my thoughts on a lot of these, gaming news and other, ridiculous stuff that's going around. But I wanted to talk about this article that I just saw yesterday, which is a bit ridiculous, and you read the title correctly. There was this study that was done of 1,000 gamers, and GTA gamers apparently have average IQ. They're on the lower end in the list. I think they're number 16, and 20 is actually the lowest on there. But I'll be going through this article, giving you guys my thoughts on it, and people are pissed. People are annoyed about this. And I'll also be talking about why I think this study is flawed. I don't think that this study is 100% accurate, and I'll talk about the issues that I think are with it. I'll talk about what I think is true, and I'll also talk about what I think is false. And this comes from the site whichbingo.co.uk. I'll link the article down below. From what I found out about this site, it's a bingo site. It's also linked to casino sites. So if you guys know anything more about this in the comments, let me know down below if you're more familiar with this website. And also, I will say, guys, is please don't harass the people that wrote this article. Don't annoy them. It's not their fault, the responses that they got from the 1,000 people. But I'll also be talking about where I think they could have improved the study and the flaws with it. But which gamers are the smartest? Unpacking IQ by gender, game, and console. Written by Which Bingo, published October 1st, 2024, so about a week ago. It's reported that playing video games can be beneficial for your brain and cognitive function, but if you ever played a multiplayer game online, you may very well question that. Well, you might as well question your sanity when playing a multiplayer game, because you deal with a lot of toxic people. To find out which video game player bases are the smartest, Which Bingo surveyed 1,002 gamers and partnered up with a team of psychologists to administer an intelligence test. So 1,002 people participated in this study. The remote IQ test assessed the cognitive skills of participants in 4 areas: verbal communication, mathematics, logic, and visual reasoning. So verbal communication, talking to your teammates, talking to other people, communicating with them; mathematics, math; logic and visual reasoning, trying to figure things out quickly. Participants were asked which games they primarily play and on what platform the most to determine the results, and the results are certainly interesting. Top 20 smartest player bases. League of Legends dominates, FC 24 at the bottom. Okay, now about this, I don't like the title of this right away, Top 20 Smartest Player Bases. You could have maybe titled this a little bit better, maybe write, games with average IQ based on game. Maybe that would have been a bit better, but top 20 smartest player bases, I don't know about that. But anyways, let's look at the list. League of Legends number 1. Now, some of these games I know, some of them I don't know, so for the games that I don't know, forgive me, guys. But League of Legends, I know that this is a very popular game. I know there's a lot of strategy involved in it, and there's big tournaments. That's as far as I know about the game. I don't know about the mechanics of the game. I just know there's really big tournaments for the game. And so with those big tournaments going on, and the communication that people have to have in those tournaments, I believe it, that the IQ score is this, 120.4. Black Myth Wukong, I don't know anything about this game. The only thing I know is it's a very recent game. It came out recently. Baldur's Gate 3, what I know about Baldur's Gate 3 is I know that it's an RPG. And Counter-Strike, it's also a first-person shooter. It's an online game. Counter-Strike is actually not very popular in America. I know it's more popular outside of America, but I don't really hear that many Americans playing Counter-Strike. Most Americans will actually play Siege or Call of Duty, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Elden Ring. Elden Ring, this is also a fairly new game. I think this came out in the last 2 years. It's a very challenging game, I know that. Dark Souls, this game I know much more about. Dark Souls, the series of games, even though I haven't played them, I know the Dark Souls games are some of the hardest games out there. You have to constantly scavenge for, supplies, potions, health, and the game is very unforgiving. Very little to no checkpoints, and the bosses are ridiculous. And the bosses, you have to, literally, it's like a millisecond to dodge. So, you have to be right there and dodge. You don't have a few seconds to dodge. You have to dodge right then when the bosses attack. So for this, I could believe it that, players would have to have a lot of logic and reasoning to play a game like Dark Souls. Overwatch 2, I know that it's a PvP game, play as different characters, different powers. So it's going to require a lot of communication to a lot of communication in a game like Overwatch 2, a lot of teamwork. And also these games, like I say, is the games that require teamwork. Have you noticed? Is games that require teamwork and coordination. Is you're gonna see a higher IQ on here from this study. Dota 2. I don't know much about Dota 2, and I don't know about Deadlock, so forgive me, guys. I'm just not into those games. Rainbow Six Siege. I know about Siege. I have Siege. I've played it a bunch of times. I gave up on Siege. If I'm gonna play Siege, the only thing I'm gonna play is the co-op. That's the only thing I'm going to play that I fairly enjoy. Siege does require a lot of communication, a lot of teamwork, but Siege can get really toxic. And the thing I didn't like about Siege is I didn't like how what people would do in Rainbow Six Siege is they would make this little small hole in the ground, and they would just go prone in it, and the second you'd like walk in any room, they'd instantly headshot you. And so gameplay like that, it wasn't just for me. I didn't like it, and so that's kind of why I gave up on it. Is people were just being really cheap in the multiplayer. Genshin Impact. I don't know that much about it, the game. I've seen it on the PlayStation Store. I believe that it's a Chinese game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Battlefield 2042, the Battlefield series. I have 2042, but I've barely played it. And I know they've got a lot of updates. They've tweaked the game. They changed a bunch of stuff in it. But Battlefield games traditionally have the Assault, Medic, Engineer, and Recon. And so Battlefield is a much more tactical squad-based game than Call of Duty. Like, Battlefield requires a lot more communication with your squad than, like, playing Call of Duty multiplayer, for example. The Destiny games, these games, sci-fi games, you're doing like quests, like raids with other players, you fight like bullet sponge enemies. That's as far as I know about those games. I played a bit of the first one, but I never beat it. Escape from Tarkov. This game's on PC. This is a extraction shooter game, survival game. Very easy to die in this game. And about this game is like a game like Escape from Tarkov is you really need to plan things out. You need to be really careful. You can't just kill everything that you see. Also, you have to pick your fights, and you could lose everything really quickly. Apex Legends, this is a battle royale game, I know that, and GTA, this is probably what you guys came here for. GTA 5, 16 place, 96.8, and you see it drops down heavily to GTA. From Apex Legends, it was 104, it drops down to 96.8, so 8 points to GTA 5. Now, what I will say about this is that I don't believe this study entirely. For GTA especially, I'm familiar with GTA, and I know some people are probably watching this and probably laughing, and I know what you guys are thinking, the people that are watching this. You're thinking the griefers. When we're talking about the griefers, the people that just endlessly just kill people over and over and over again, use Oppressor Mark II, Ghost Organization, constantly keep killing people and do nothing in the game, then yeah, I could believe that their IQ is a bit lower. But when it comes to other players on GTA Online that don't harass people, are just, friendly, work together, when you do some of these heists, like especially like Criminal Mastermind heists, like Criminal Mastermind, the original heist, like you got to get a good team going for that, and you need a lot of communication. You have to like plan things out. You have to be ready for stuff to go wrong. So doing something like the heist in the Criminal Mastermind heist, even the regular heist like Casino heist and Cayo Perico heist, that still requires a level of communication to do stuff like this. And they're not differentiating between GTA 5 single player and online. Most people that are surveyed here are probably GTA Online players. So if you're doing like the heists in the game, even if you're running the businesses, that requires some level of communication, coordination with your teammates, doing stuff like that. So I don't believe that, GTA players have like a 96.8, IQ. So I just don't, I don't believe that. If we're talking about the griefers, if you just sample like, the griefers, then yeah, I think we can agree that they're probably going to have a lower IQ. But if you're talking about, players that, doing heists, and they are, they're running these businesses, and, they're working together, they're helping each other out, I don't think that it's fair, to give them that kind of score there. And what I will also say about this is, one massive mistake with this survey is they don't tell you what the ages are that they've interviewed. Because I'll tell you this, a game like GTA 5 is going to have way more kids playing than a game like League of Legends. League of Legends, I'm sure probably could have some kids playing, but you're going to have like generally, younger adults and adults that are going to be playing the game. Versus GTA, where you're going to have a lot more kids that are going to play the game, and kids are going to have lower IQs. Their brains are just not fully developed. So even though it's an M-rated game, you will have plenty of kids that will play a game like GTA 5. And I'm also surprised Sea of Thieves has got kind of lower on here, because Sea of Thieves is a tactical game. It requires a lot of communication with your team when you're, sailing the ships, you're trying to scavenge supplies, you're fighting other players. Some surprise Sea of Thieves is even lower than GTA. And then Call of Duty Warzone and Modern Warfare 3, 95.3. I know some people are probably laughing at this, Call of Duty being, 18th place here. But what I will say about Call of Duty is Call of Duty is a very large game, very, very large, and it really depends on what you're surveying. If you are just surveying people who just play team deathmatch, like they just play team deathmatches, kill endlessly, they don't do anything else in the game, then yeah, I could see it that they might have a lower IQ, because that's just killing and nothing else. They're not doing anything else. This study, like I said, is based on verbal communication, logic, and reasoning. And if you know anything about Call of Duty multiplayer, you will know people almost never work together in Call of Duty multiplayer. They never do. They don't listen to you. They don't communicate. Like, if you play Search and Destroy, for example, like, you'll try to talk to people, like randoms, they won't listen to you. They'll just run off and die, and then they'll tell you that you suck for not, for dying too, even though they died already. So, in a lot of, Call of Duty multiplayer, people don't work together. So by the scale that we're using, the scale of logic and reasoning, do a lot of Call of Duty players have logic and reasoning? No. I would say like the regular multiplayer. However, what I will tell you is I'm a very big DMZ player. DMZ, I guess, is technically included because it says Call of Duty, Warzone, and Modern Warfare 3, which DMZ is technically part of Warzone, even though it's in Modern Warfare 2. But if you polled DMZ players, because most of the people that have been polled on here are probably Modern Warfare 3 players. They just play Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, like Team Deathmatch and nothing else. If you polled DMZ players, this would be a lot higher. I'm telling you, this score would be a lot higher. And the reason I feel that way is because I've played so much DMZ. So much. I've completed almost all the missions, all the challenges. I'm very familiar with the map. I'm very familiar with how the game runs. DMZ is a very unique Call of Duty mode because it's the only Call of Duty mode where people work together, because you have one life, and if you die, you can kind of get revived. But if your other two teammates die in squads of 3, then that's it. You're eliminated. You're gone, unless you plead to join another squad. But most people aren't going to pick you up. So DMZ is a mode where you scavenge for supplies, you look for money, you kill other players, you complete missions. People stay together in DMZ. Like, squads stay together versus like other modes where people just run off, don't work together. In DMZ, people work together. They coordinate, and there are some really good players in DMZ. Like, I've seen some really good players. Like I've seen players, like, I've joined squads where we have wiped out multiple squads. We've wiped out like 4 or 5 squads in just one game, and we did that because we were all working together, talking to each other, coordinating, marking targets. You mark the players, you mark the targets. So basically, the point that I'm getting at is that this study is flawed, because if you poll certain types of gamers, like if you poll the griefers, unlike GTA, then yeah, you're gonna have, lower IQ scores. If you poll like the people that just do team deathmatch and they don't ever work together with anybody, then yeah, you're gonna have lower scores. But if you poll like people that do heists, for example, in businesses, the IQ score is gonna go up. If you poll people that do like DMZ, or like some of these modes like that require way more teamwork, and coordination, then you're gonna have a higher IQ score. And then you have Rocket League on here, which Rocket League, I don't know that much about Rocket League. I just know it's the game where you control the RC cars, and basically it's like soccer. You try to push the soccer ball into the goal. It's a very simple game. And then you have FC 24. I think that's a soccer game also, but I know FIFA is also a soccer game. But about the FIFA games is I've never played the FIFA games much, but I don't think it's fair to have FIFA players last in this list. I don't think it's fair, because I looked up what the IQ scores are. And if you guys see right here, let me see. This is Wikipedia, but it gives you like different charts on like IQ scores, and most of these ranges say that 90 to 100, 90 to over 100 is average. So most of them are, but under 90 it's considered low average. A lot of them are here. So yeah, low average on a lot of these under 90. So I don't think that it's fair to say that FIFA players have lower than average IQ. And the scale that they've used, remember, the scale that they've used, they're measuring verbal communication. But in a game like FIFA, you're not going to have much verbal communication, because somebody correct me if I'm wrong, isn't FIFA just 1v1 multiplayer? Isn't that what it is? Is there more than one player on one team? If there is, then maybe I'm wrong on this. But from what I've seen, I played FIFA at my friend's house before, and I've gotten used to it. I've gotten used to some of the controls. I played the older FIFA. I think it was like FIFA 15. It was like years ago. But basically, about FIFA is you have to, just like soccer, you have to anticipate where your rival is going to attack from, if they have the ball, how you're going to snatch it from them, how to protect your goal at the same time as scoring in their goal. So which teammate are you going to pass it to? And so there's no verbal communication really with players, but you're anticipating what your opponent is going to do, and you're trying to plan it out. So FIFA, for example, requires way more planning and concentration than a game like Rocket League. So I just don't believe that FIFA players are, this low on the list. I don't. I think that if anything, I think they just got unlucky because polls can really say anything, really anything. I can do a poll of like 100 people from my neighborhood, right? And I can say, oh, the 100 people that I've polled in my neighborhood have low IQs. And then I can do, the poll next month. And I can do like 100 people in my random people again, like different people in my neighborhood. And then I can say, oh, people in my neighborhood have high IQs. So a lot of times these polls are just based on chance. It's just based on chance on who you interview and stuff like this. So I just think by chance, they just got some, FIFA players that didn't do too well on their tests. That's just basically what I think. And widely popular online strategy games, League of Legends secured the highest score of 120.4. Falling close behind in second was the player base of the hugely successful single-player Black Myth Wukong with an IQ of 119.8. Baldur's Gate 3 players placed third overall with an average IQ of 117.9. For context, on an IQ score sub 85 is deemed below average intelligence. 85 to 115 is deemed average intelligence. Anything over 115 IQ is deemed above average intelligence. So 85 to 115 is deemed average intelligence. But a lot of those other charts that I was looking at on Wikipedia, they said that below 90 is also below average. But from the data, it's clear that the game focuses on strategy and role-playing are linked with higher IQ scores. Games like Baldur's Gate 3, Dark Souls, and Dota 2 ranked high. On the other hand, FC FIFA 23 players recorded the lowest IQ in the study with an average score of 89.8. And then here we have the IQ score on console players. So PC has the highest IQ. PlayStation has second highest. Xbox has third highest. Nintendo Switch, also fourth, and then mobile games have the lowest IQ score on there. But what I will say about this study is for PC players having high IQ scores, the highest score on here, I believe it. And the reason I believe it is because PC players are not just PC gamers, but they're generally familiar with computers. So if you have a pretty strong computer, if you have like a pretty good computer, you are familiar with computers, you know how computers work, and chances are a lot of PC players also build their own computers. And so I would believe that requires, a higher level of intelligence to do stuff like that. Like I couldn't do stuff like that. Like I'm just not a PC guy. I don't know that much about computers. A lot of people are generally shocked when I tell them I don't know that much about computers. I don't. I know how to, I'm really good at typing. I'm decent at like Photoshop and I know how to edit videos. But like when it comes to the internals of like computers and like processors and all that stuff, I don't know. Like one of my best friends in real life, he's really good with computers. He knows all this stuff, and I've paid him to build a gaming computer for me, and he did it. He built a really good one. But I would not have been able to know. I wouldn't have known how to do that myself. So PC players having the highest IQ, yeah, I believe that generally. And for Xbox and PlayStation, it doesn't really matter. It's Xbox and PlayStation are extremely similar to each other. I don't think that it really matters. And Nintendo Switch also, but for mobile has, significantly, just like, 11 points lower than PlayStation. I don't know why mobile has the lowest score on here. Let me know what you guys think. What your reasoning for that is, why you think mobile has the lowest score on here. When breaking down IQ scores by consoles, PC gamers led the pack with an average IQ of 114.1. PlayStation gamers fall in second place. Yeah, so this is basically everything that we've read here. Gender IQ comparison. Female gamers lead with a higher average IQ score. So female gamers, 107.9, and male gamers, 105.8. So there's almost no difference. So when people say that like guys are smarter than girls, or like girls are smarter than guys, there's no evidence for anything like that. There's no evidence that one gender is smarter than the other gender. Is that both genders are pretty much equal right here. So that's the thing that the study got right here, is that both genders are pretty much equal. I mean, there's very little to no difference. It's just 2 points. So they're pretty much equal in smarts. Contrary to stereotype, the study found that female gamers beat their male counterparts in terms of average IQ. Female gamers record an average IQ of 107.9, while male gamers average 105.8. What do you make of these results? Do you think we're missing a game? So like I was saying earlier, gender does not matter. It has no influence on their IQ. But PC, yes, I believe it that PC players would have the higher IQ here because they built their computer or they know a lot about computers, like their gaming computers, because you need a pretty strong computer in order to run a lot of these games, these newer games, and so that I would believe that PC players have a higher IQ. As for the games, I will say that I don't think that this is accurate. I think that League of Legends, okay, yes, and games like Dark Souls, okay, yes. Dark Souls and Elden Ring, yes, you could have a higher IQ because it requires a lot of coordination on those games. It requires a lot of planning. But FIFA would require a lot of planning as well, trying to anticipate exactly how your opponent is going to kick the ball, how to get the ball from your opponent, how to score it in the goal, and the fact that Rocket League players would have about a point higher than FIFA players. And I'm not trying to insult Rocket League players, but I'm saying that Rocket League is the scale that they've used. Rocket League is a lot more simple game than FIFA is. So FIFA requires a lot more tactics to it than a game like Rocket League. And so again, what I said about GTA 5, it depends on the players that you have surveyed. If you're surveying the griefers, then yeah, I think most of us watching, you're surveying the griefers, people just endlessly kill, and they send you message like 1-0, ha 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 ha. Then yeah, I think we can say that those people have lower IQs. But if we're talking about, people that do heists, people that, plan that out, run heists perfectly, do criminal mastermind, run these businesses, I don't think that will be the same. And the same thing for Call of Duty. It depends on the mode that you're playing. If you're just playing Endless Team Deathmatch, then yeah, I could see that the players that play Endless Team Deathmatch would have a lower IQ. There's no coordination, no teamwork in that. It's all about me, my kills, and my kill streaks. And there's plenty of modes that you play in Call of Duty, like Domination. Have you ever noticed that in Domination, there's people who don't even take the objective, they don't take the flags. All they do is they just kill, they go for kills, and that is pretty much what the game mode is, to capture flags and hold the flags and get the most amount of points. But people are like, oh, it's all about my kills and my KD. But if you compare it to a mode like DMZ, like I said, DMZ, I'm telling you, is going to have higher IQ players. If you just poll DMZ Call of Duty players on here, it would be higher because there's a lot of communication, a lot of tactics. You mark, other players. You decide, do I want to engage this team, run away? Because sometimes in DMZ, the best thing to do is to run away. And I would say the same thing for Escape from Tarkov. Tarkov is an extraction shooter game. It requires a lot of, coordination, a lot of thoughts go into it, because you die, you lose everything, just like in DMZ. And the number one reason I think this study is flawed, guys, the number one reason, like I said again, is because they are not listing the ages here. They're not. Because there are plenty of kids that play these games. So how old are these people that are because if you want to do the most accurate test possible, you have to have people that are in the same age range. And the fact that they don't even bring up an age range has me concerned on here. Like I said, some of these games like GTA and like Call of Duty are going to have, and Rocket League as well, these games are going to have a lot more kids that are going to be playing them. So that is also going to have an impact. And if we look at the comments, one guy actually brought it up. Yeah, see here, I have a few questions. What was the age distribution of the participants? What was the name of the types of assessments used? Where is the source for these claims? I tried Googling, and all the articles I saw pointed back to this page. I would love to see the paper these claims are based on. I have so many questions. So this guy, Freddy, this guy's right, is the age range. We have to know the age range, and it would be better if we figure it out. If they gave us an example of tests, they gave us a sample test of what the type of test they gave these people exactly, then we would have a better understanding of the results. But like I said, you have 1,000 people polled, and this is why, polls are not always the most accurate thing. People look at polls and they think, oh, this is how people feel about this, or this is how intelligent people are. But like I said, I could go into my neighborhood today and do a poll of 100 people doing an IQ test, and then I could come back and say, oh, the average IQ is low in my neighborhood, and then 1 month later I could survey 100 different people, and the 100 different people that I survey, I'll get higher scores, and I'll say, oh, look, next month is people are saying people have higher IQ scores. So polls are based by chance. They're based on who you interview also. And a sample size of 1,000 gamers, I don't think that's a big enough sample size to declare whether how intelligent these gamers are. And also the 1,000 gamers that they interviewed, are these 1,000 gamers in each game 1,000 League of Legends players, 1,000 Black Myth Wukong players? I suspect they just 1,000 random players altogether. So if you did a survey where you surveyed 1,000 players from each of these games, then I think you would get a much better result. But if you're just doing a survey of 1,000 random players and then all these games put into it, I don't think that you're gonna have that good results. And also on top of that is, think about it this way: is if there's only a few people, if out of those 1,000 people, let's just say that out of those 1,000 people, only 5 play Rocket League, right? Out of 1,000 people, only 5 play Rocket League, and those 5 people do really bad on the IQ test, then Rocket League is going to be put in the back. But at the same time is, if you do the poll of like 1,000 people and you have like 5 people that are that do really well and they're like playing like for example like Elden Ring, then they're gonna be really high on here too. So like I said, polls are flawed. Don't always believe them. There's a lot of factors that go into it, and this website is not listing how this poll was done, how many people from each game was surveyed, the age gap, and wasn't surveying on the types of players in these games, because these games all have different types of players. People that play modes that require teamwork and people that play modes that don't require teamwork. The modes that people play that don't require teamwork, then yes, I'm not trying to insult people, but I would believe that yes, if people play the modes that don't require a lot of teamwork, then yes, according to this study, they said that they're basing it off of verbal communication. They're going to have less verbal communication, and so they will have a lower IQ. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you believe this? Do you believe that GTA players really deserve, because my channel, we focus a lot on GTA content. Do you really think that GTA players should be, 16 on this list? Like, let me know what you guys think down below. Again, I'll link the article down below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.